on the drive to set up a field goal before halftime. But it was bad. And I'm not quite sure how that kid got off the mat. I really don't. After he throws the pick six to Deshaun Wright, it looked like it was going to snowball. As a matter of fact, Joe Buck said as much on the Monday Night Football broadcast. And yet somehow, some way, Kevin O'Connor was able to get through to him. They got Jordan Mason in the running game going. Credit to you, because you pointed out how impactful you thought he was going to be when the Minnesota Vikings got him.
Good with the Niners.
But once they started getting that ground game going, it seemed to settle JJ down, and the passing game opened up from there. He had a laser that he threw in the end zone to Justin Jefferson for a touchdown, and from there you could start to see him get more confident with each drive. We literally watched J.J. McCarthy grow up before our eyes in his first start. And to be able to mount a double-digit deficit comeback on the road against a division rival week one in your regular season debut, that's a hell of a thing, man.
First debut ever for a quarterback with 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. First debut seeing him. I think there's a little, and I'm saying this in a way that is, I'm jealous of the ability to be like, screw it. You think we're going to lose this game? I'm going to bring everybody back, from the face paint to the way he plays. No, seriously, like he talks about the war paint. Like,
quotes, yeah.
I mean, I'm not making a joke about that.
No, and the way he was rallying his teammates when they were down, they spoke about it after the game, how he was like, it's about to pop, and they're like, hey, you're 22, this is your first game, but he was right. And they talked about the conviction that he had when he was rallying them on the sidelines, to your point, Ev.
Since sophomore year of high school, 64-3 his teams are in games that he has started at the quarterback position. It is too easy to say after one game, the young man's just a winner. But up until this point in his life, that's all he's ever done. And he's continuing that, at least in his first moment last night.
Well, I think it matters from this standpoint. He has something innate in him. That there is an intangible there that you can't quantify with any type of test at the combine. And it's really hard to figure out even just sitting down and interviewing him. But if you look at the entire body of work, you know that this guy has something to him. We talk about the it factor, the X factor. J.J. McCarthy oozes that, and it came out in that fourth quarter in Soldier Field. And you just wonder now how that's going to translate to this team's potential success, because you saw as he started to come alive, that defense started feasting on the Chicago Bears offensive line. I mean, you saw Andrew Van Ginkel and Jonathan Gennard and Javon Hargrave, who came over from the San Francisco 49ers, getting on the act. I thought Javon Hargrave was going to kill Caleb Williams in the sack. I thought he was going to kill him. I mean, you talk about a 350-pound man landing on a quarterback. That's never a good thing.
Yeah.
But you started to see that unit fly around. And so it really was palpable, the impact that J.J. McCarthy's performance had on the entire team. Not just on the offense, but on the entire team, even on special teams. The punt returns that they were getting all night long. I mean, just the kid has got something to him, and that game, that performance, gives the other 52 guys in the locker room something to believe in when they hit that inevitable adversity that every team goes through throughout a season.
Yeah, a good data point for them to reflect back on, especially when the organization decides to move on from a quarterback that won 14 games for you last season in lieu of J.J. McCarthy. And, you know, he obviously makes sure that physically he's ready, but we're talking about his attitude, his mentality. He pours a lot into the mental side of his game, too. There's a great piece up at ESPN.com that Kevin Seifert wrote about the eye black, as you mentioned, the meditations that he does before the game, his song, Bob Marley, that he listens to. But there's a quote in that piece from his receiver, Justin Jefferson, that I think really encapsulates everything that we're talking about today. He says about J.J. McCarthy, he definitely has the winning attitude, the dog mentality, just that killer mode. And we saw it last night.
Yeah, and it's amazing how different everything was in the first half and the second half, because I sent everybody a text on Sportsman group chat referencing Tom Brady years ago on the Shop on HBO with LeBron, when he'd be telling the story, and I think now we learn it was the Raiders, if I'm not mistaken, ironically, the team that he now is a part owner of, that they kept that guy over me, and I think it was about Derek Carr. And Aaron Rodgers had to be watching that first half. We all know he wanted to be a Minnesota Viking. I think he's thrilled to be with the Steelers now, but he wanted to be a Viking. Saying to himself, they kept that guy over me, or they wanted that guy over me, because he was awful in the first half. But here's the thing, in its simplest form. When we think about the best head coaches in the NFL for quarterbacks, Kevin O'Connell's a top 5 guy on that list.
No doubt.
Right? Okay.
May even be higher.
Jim Harbaugh is probably also on that list. Okay.
Kyle Shanahan,
Andy Reid, obviously. At some point, and it's only one game, but at some point we have to take a step back and say, wait a minute. So a Jim Harbaugh coached player in college that Kevin O'Connell trades up for, that Kevin O'Connell said goodbye to a clear-cut starter in Sam Darnold for, is good? That shouldn't surprise us. And I have to admit, I sat here yesterday saying, I have no idea what to expect from this team, and maybe egg on my face, maybe I should have expected immediate good play from a guy that has never been bad. In JJ McCarthy.
I mean, if you would have expected that, you would have been sorely disappointed based on the first half that he had.
No doubt. I understand.
It did 50 yards passing.
Yeah, it looked bad. It looked bad.
It was awful.
And Caleb looked great, conversely.
You can't win an NFL game playing quarterback the way that JJ McCarthy did through the first 2.5, 3 quarters of that game.
Yeah.
You just can't.
So what does this tell you now about the rest of the season with the Minnesota Vikings? We're going to get to the Bears part.
Well, we said coming into that game yesterday that JJ McCarthy has maybe the widest degree of variance of any player that we were going to see in week 1. We just didn't know what to expect. He redshirted last year, but it wasn't really a redshirt year because he had the injury. He was working his way back from that. We just didn't know the player that we were going to see. And I think in that game, we saw the entirety of the spectrum, the variance that we talked about, from the bad to the good. It's interesting because usually when it comes to young quarterbacks, when they have those types of performances that snowball early, it takes them a second to be able to bounce back. Hell, they had to bench Bryce Young. It took him half a season last year to bounce back.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that was his second year in the NFL. So you're wondering, for J.J. McCarthy, after that first half, are the guys around him going to shut down because they don't believe that the quarterback is capable of turning it around in this game? But it didn't happen. The guys didn't quit. The defense kept them in it long enough for the offense to find their footing. And the fact that they didn't quit is a good sign, not only that Kevin O'Connell is a good coach, but also that they believed in their quarterback. And I go back to something that Justin Jefferson said earlier on in the offseason. He said, we're going to have to be patient with JJ. You could see that patience throughout the team, throughout that game. Justin Jefferson had every right to be frustrated after that first half, knowing that he's the best receiver in the NFL. Every right to be frustrated, but he didn't quit. That defense had every right to be frustrated because the offense was giving them nothing. Didn't quit. Special teams.